Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Once again, it is a Tuesday. Fantastic. Actually, it's a dreary Tuesday morning over here in the neck of the woods in New York. And I am coming to you live on the Dear Daughter page. The show is, of course, To My Younger Self. It's a project that tells stories from the past that would propel you into the future. We like to go back so we can go forward, right? Right? Yes, yes, yes. Guys, I see you. I see you. But I don't see exactly who is on. Do me a favor, like we always do. Please go into the comment section. Say good morning to me. Say hello to me in your native language. Say welcome to me in your native language. Say something nice to our guest in your native language and let me know that you're here, okay? I truly, truly appreciate you guys. As always, we like to do some greetings from all over Africa and, of course, some other countries in the world. If you're from Burkina Faso, we say Bella to you. Baraka Dazua in the Hausa language. Ken Ken, Toma Toma. Wela, for Toma A Wela. To Pose Wenam Baraka. I'm always saying these are my native languages and I'm very comfortable in them. That was Kusal I just spoke. La Awane, Toma Awane. That is Frafra. And Dinao, Wezo from the Ewe land of Ghana. Oje Ko in Ghanaland. Ekabo, Yorubas will say, to say Akwaba. Karibu, karibu sana. Habari gani, meba, akeyi in Creole, now my welena. I'm trying to learn a little bit of Zulu, so let me give this a go. And if I butcher it, please forgive me. Wamukelekile. I hope I said it right. Please, can someone teach me how to say this? I want to be able to say welcome in Zulu. If you're from the Soto area in South Africa, we say Dumela. And of course, in English, welcome. Wherever you are in the world, we want to say welcome to you. I know you probably didn't hear your language, but it doesn't mean we don't love you. Teach us how to say welcome or thank you or please in your local dialect, and I will be happy to greet you in that. Once again, my name is Zoe Baraka. It's an absolute pleasure coming your way today. I am very excited as always because we just have always great people coming our way to tell us stories. Today I have an amazing, amazing man. Let me set this up for you. Imagine that you're on a plane ride going to some country in Africa. Both of you are strangers, you're doing some work. But somehow, because you're a praying man or because God loves you very much, he puts someone who has gone before you a little bit in your path and directs you and says, you have to have a conversation with this person. In the beginning, he's a stranger. But as the plane ride is going on, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour, for however long it takes, you guys begin to talk about your work because you're both from the same country going into some kind of a different country. And so you bond over that and you're talking. An elder person to a younger man, so to speak, to my younger self. And the younger man says to the elder man, tells him a few of his dreams, of course, some of his fears. And this elder person jumps in and just gives you a word that he tells you stories about his life. He tells you experiences about himself, some of his failures. He doesn't hold back. And he fortifies you so much that years down the line, his words are still ringing in your ears. And when you are going forth to get some kind of at least in your brain, or yes, in your brain, you're going forth to conquer your Goliath at that point, this elder man's words are still ringing in your ears. And because of the words he implanted in you on that plane ride, you're able to go forth and conquer your Goliath at that time. This is who is on the show today, Mr. Samuel Fiakpui. I call him Uncle Sam. It's some kind of a joke because over here, when you say Uncle Sam, it means you're actually talking to their country, which kind of makes sense. Let me tell you a little bit about Uncle Sam. So Uncle Sam is a country security. He is the country security specialist for a cluster of countries for the World Bank. Guys, we are in money now. We're talking the World Bank, for the World Bank Group. He has 25 years experience in the security industry. He joined the World Bank from the American Embassy, where he worked for almost 15 years in the Regional Security Office. He is security oriented, guys. Uncle Sam is a certified protection professional as well as a physical protection professional. He also holds a postgraduate certificate in business administration from GIMPA, as well as a diploma in adult education from the University of Ghana, Lagos. Uncle Sam is a member of the Trinity United Church, where he currently serves as an elder and also their financial secretary. He has an amazing vision. His vision is to equip all churches in Ghana to take a more proactive stance in securing their houses of worship against both internal and external threats. Wow. In that regard, together with other colleagues, he has held various seminars in collaboration with the Christian Council of Ghana to equip church leaders to protect their members and their facilities. Here is my best part of this introduction. Uncle Sam and his wife Grace got married on the 31st of August 1991, the day Ghana's under-17 soccer team won the World Cup. Now that's a marriage right there. It was destined to win. Whether they wanted it to or not, it was just destined to win. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, please go into the comment section and please help me welcome the one and the only Mr. Samuel Fiakpui from the World Bank itself. Hi. You are very welcome, Uncle Sam.
Thank you, Zoe. That was an elaborate introduction. Thank you for those kind words.
No, thank you. I'm telling you guys, Uncle Sam, I've actually never met him. I'm so grateful for that grace, because I've never met him, and he speaks to me as though we've actually sat and had a meal. So, yeah. Uncle Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Zoe. And thank you all for making time to listen to my story. It's a very humble story, really. Let's start from my childhood. I was born to Mr. Obed Fiakpui, who worked with the BP. He was the accounts. He was in charge of the finances for the company before he retired. Mm-hmm. And my mom, Madam Agnes Fiakpui, she was a petty trader. We lived in Asalam Down, in middle-class neighborhood. I remember our house was the same neighborhood as one of the previous heads of state, General Ankara.
Wow.
You know, he lived very, very close to where we lived, and he had soldiers guarding his house. I remember we used to go there out of curiosity, not because we were hungry, to eat some of the ration of the soldiers. I never saw yams cut so big, you know. And you know, they will send us on errands to buy them cigarettes or buy them something. And when we came back, they'll share their ration with us.
Wow.
Out of curiosity, we took those. So and I'm the seventh of nine children.
Wow.
We are all still very much alive. The old folks have passed on.
Oh.
Yeah. So I remember as far back as when I was probably a few months old, baby, I remember being carried on the back of my mom and my big sisters. And then my sister was born maybe some 2 years later. And after a few months, I was actually grounded. I had to walk, and I didn't like it at all. But I didn't take it out of my sister. But that's as far back as I can remember, recollect from my I remember growing up, my older brothers and sisters were going to school, but I was too small, and I was full of energy. Mm-hmm. I experimented with many things. Then one of my father's relatives came to stay with us from the village, and he was enrolled in school. Mm-hmm. Just before school reopened, he decided he wasn't going to go to school. He was missing his parents so much that he wanted to go back home. So my father suggested that my big sister should take me to the school and tell the headmaster that, why don't you replace this child with the one who was originally supposed to come. Those days, you had to be 6 or 7 to be able to enter class 1, and it
Wow.
was an experimental school.
Mhm.
So Master Lamte asked me to put my arms around my head. Once I could touch my ear, yeah, I was in.
Wow.
So I was 5 when I went to class 1. Uh,
Wow.
Rather, most children being 7 or 6. And in class 6, I passed the common entrance. Because it was an experimental school, we
Mhm.
were allowed to sit for the common entrance. I sat and passed. So I went to secondary school. Um, Life in the secondary school was quite regimented.
Mhm.
This is the first time I was ever leaving my family. For me, it was traumatic. I remember crying my heart out that day. But my big sister, did well to console me. I settled down. Fortunately, my big sister had a friend in the school. She was a big girl. She was
Mhm.
like 17 or 19, and I was 11. So she kept an eye on me. She washed my stuff for me. But one day, for some strange reason, she came crying, bundled my things. Normally, we wash on weekends. She
Mhm.
bundled and threw them at me. She was not going to wash my things for me again. What? 11-year old? How am I supposed to? How am I to survive? You know, her friends were teasing her that I was her boyfriend, and she just cried and cried and said,
Oh,
"Oh, Shabi," that was it, man. Okay, so I had to wash my stuff, and I'm not used to washing. So by the end of the term, all my white stuff had turned brown. you know, but I survived. You know, by Form 2, I was bigger, more experienced. I could wash my things. So yeah, life went on.
wow.
In the first term, second term, everything was strange. Too many subjects, and the subjects were hard. So at the end of the term, I was like from the bottom, or fifth from the bottom. But come the third term, I had
Mhm.
settled down pretty well, and so
Yes.
I began to go forward. At the end of Form 2, I was actually now among we have 105. There were 35 in the class and three streams, classrooms, and we were seated according to your position in the class. By the time we were entering Form 3, I was among the first 35. You know,
Wow.
so I had pretty much now settled down.
Mhm.
You know, uh, One of my ambitions was to be a pilot. So I knew I had to study physics, but I didn't like maths, and and I had to study geography. I loved geography, but then I didn't like pure sciences. So I had a strange combination of subjects,
Mhm.
and you know when we went to Form 4, I didn't do well. And I realized that going forward, if I went to Form 5, I was just going to fail. My father had looked at my results, and he realized that no, uh, this was not the kind of grades that would take me anywhere. And I
Mhm.
was just maybe 15, 14, going to 15. So he said, well, would you mind repeating? I said, well, I just been thinking about the same thing.
Mhm.
So we went to the headmaster. I had been promoted, but he repeated me. But maybe that did me a ton of good, because first time I went to the class, these were my juniors now that I was sitting in the class with. And
Wow.
man, they were not my class. I just didn't see them as my class. And yet at the same time, I couldn't mix with my peers with whom I started Form 1 to Form 4. You
Oh my
know, they were my seniors now. I was like a bat caught in between. So I just had to stick with my books and just bury my head in my books. I think that was good for me.
wow.
Fortunately, I shared a desk with a lady who's passed on now, called Basila. She had also finished Form 5, and her father had brought her to start from Form 4. So the two of us had one common objective. I mean,
Yes.
our books and nothing but the books. And I reoriented myself to better subjects, a combination of things. I sadly enough had to give up that dream of becoming a pilot, because I knew physics. I wasn't cut for it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I stuck with things that I could really manage. Interestingly, literature we thought was women's subject was something I loved, you know, and it improved my English so much
Mm.
that when we sat for the GC, I had a one in English. I love to write and I love to communicate.
Right.
And well, I mean, that was one of the best things that happened to me. But I like to go back a little in between my before I went to secondary school. One day, my grandmother who was visiting was going to our hometown, so we took her to the park, made a farewell, and we took a shortcut. My big brother and I to come
Mm-hmm.
home. On the way home, we saw in close to our neighborhood, we saw two white guys playing soccer. So my big brother struck some conversation with them, and we went and played with them for some long time, and then we left and went home. Uh, After a few hours, I went back to play with them,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next day I went. That was vacation, so the next day I went. The following day, so every day I went, and well, I became part of part of them. Every day I was there
Where
with
were
them.
these people from, Uncle Sam?
Switzerland. They was from Switzerland.
Wow.
Yes,
How old were you?
about 8 or 9.
Oh, wow.
eight,
Okay.
8 or 9, yeah,
Uh-huh.
8 or 9, and you know, so soon everywhere they went, they took me. Mother would go shopping at the Kingsway, former Kingsway. We'll go together. We'll go to Acapulco Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday we went to mass, early mass in the morning, strictly 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Once it was done, we came home, parked off to the beach. And the parents had horses at the polo club.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there at least twice or thrice in a week. Man, I loved it.
Wow.
We rode bicycles. Um, we had real fun. We
Mm-hmm.
had real fun. Um, but when I was 13, my friend who was my age mate, 12. Then they had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, the aliens compliance order. It didn't affect just um, Nigerians or people from West Africa, but all other
Wow.
nationals.
Huh.
Yeah, they had to transfer, knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
ownership, sort of, to indigenous people. And so the father had to go home. He had to go back home. Oh man, that was one of the saddest days in my life. Because my whole world came crashing down. But
Wow.
we kept corresponding. Eugen and I kept corresponding. In those days, there were no phones. There were no emails. So we just wrote a letter. It took
Mm-hmm.
about 2 weeks for it to get there, maybe 3. Then he will write. So in about 3 months, we exchanged one letter. In 3 months, another letter coming in. So we kept corresponding for 13 years, and then he came.
Wow.
He came down. He was a grown man, very tall, and I was about 25 then. So that was a huge reunion,
Mm-hmm.
and we we caught up with all the things that are happening in our lives since he left. Um, Now I finished Form 5, went to sixth form in Mauli, but I do remember that was in '79.
Mm-hmm.
On the last day, just before I left the school to come to Accra, one of my relatives called me and said he was a watchman on the campus. He called me and said, "My son, come here." Yes, sir. You finished school, haven't you? I said, "Yes." "Don't go to university. Have you heard?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Go and join the army. Have you heard?" I said, "Yes, sir."
Wow.
"Do you see what's going on in the country now? Look, when you join the army, go and look for the radical guys. And when they are planning something, join them." I said, "Yes, sir." Uh, then you can overthrow the government, do some coup, and collect as much money as you can, and don't stay here. Run, go abroad. When everything is quiet, come back. Have you heard me?" I say, "Yes, sir." damn, what kind of advice is this? But you see, in those days, I mean, nothing worked. You finished school and you couldn't find work. I mean, all you had to do was be able to go to a manager, get a cheat, sell it, right there. You didn't even have to pay for it. You had to exchange money. You had to change the cheat, and you got the difference between what it will sell outside and the real cost of the product. And so that's how people lived. So
Wow.
by connection, I mean, those were very bad days.
Mm.
So there was really no point in saying you are spending time going to school, getting an education. No, nobody really wanted to do that,
Wow.
But I ignored that advice, and I went on to um, do my remedials, went to IPS. But another story that I want to tell is that I met, um, I
Wow.
attended the Baptist. Yeah, that was bad advice, and
That was terrible advice. I'm still like
yes,
going back and thinking, how could he, what must have prompted him to even want to tell you that? That
no,
is,
because JJ had just done his school. That
ah,
was a 79.
wow,
And it was a radicals in the army who were, and they were ruling, and he said, look, you know what, go to the army, don't play around, just go to the army straight and join them, and then make some money.
wow.
Yeah, that's how people are corrupted, I tell you.
Which tells you that your environment highly impacts who you eventually
uh,
become.
exactly.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes, but one of the good things that happened to me was one day, one of the missionaries, I attended the Baptist church. One of the missionaries who lived in my neighborhood was washing her car, and I said, no, no, it's not good for this woman to be washing her car by herself. So I offered to help with the washing. Um, she was very happy, and I said, okay, every week I'll come and do that for you.
Wow.
Uh, there were two ladies that lived together. Then she left because her auntie was sick. She had to go back home to take care of her. So I continued to wash the bus for the other one, and then suddenly house help left suddenly, and there was no one to clean the house or iron her clothes. So I offered to do that, but she was very different. She'll pay you for your services, and I liked it. I know, getting some money from my pocket, you know. So after a while, she asked if my dad would allow me to come and stay in her outhouse, and I asked, and he said, "Yeah." And when I turned 21, I actually had to start fending for myself. So I found a job as a pupil teacher. Went to the Polytechnic to start a course, ICSA, which I continued at the IPS. I was still staying in a house but working. When I got to IPS, I had to, when I didn't have lectures, Thursday, I had to come home to work till Monday. Then I'll go back to campus. I had an evening lecture. So Monday evening, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday by 12, I'm finished and I had to ride my bicycle back home. So that was a rhythm, and that's how I made money to pay for my exam fees during those days. I mean, things were hard, but I had to go through. She treated me like her son, but at the same time, work was work, and I had to be on time.
Wow.
So this
Your
went on.
work ethic.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
No, I learned a lot from her. She was a perfectionist. If you ironed her dress, there should be no crease in the dress. I mean, that's how meticulous she was, and I'm eternally grateful to her. You
Wow.
know, yeah. My Bible that I still use, she gave to me on my 25th birthday or so. Yeah, and or 22nd or 23rd, one of those. Yeah. Yes, and on my birthday, she would throw a party for me, and I invite my friends. She was a classic mother.
Wow.
So I finished IPS, and I go and work at my food complex. I did my national service. And then after the national service, uh, I must have impressed the union and the uh, I think PDC, they call them that those days. Those were the revolutionary guys
Guys, yes.
at the workplace.
Uh-huh.
You know, when those of us who did national service, they sent a list. Originally, my name was there, but then mysteriously it got
It
vanished.
vanished. Oh
Yeah,
God.
and but they went to the general manager and made a very strong case that look, if anybody's name ought to be there, it had to be mine.
Mhm.
So they brought me back, and I remember that I was married then, and I was responsible for public relations, the library and archives, the library and then archives, and then later on I was also made a training officer. So I was having like four different portfolios, and then one day somebody went on leave, and the general manager asked me to take that also. And I said, sir, there are other people in the administration division who are sitting down not doing that. They said, shut up. Obia percent Juma Koso. Meaning everybody wants his work to go on.
Uh-huh.
You know, the point is this, that because I was doing so well, he gave me more responsibility, and he was
Wow.
sure I would, I would do the work efficiently. So I shut up, and I learned a good lesson from it.
Mhm.
That look, those who go ahead are those who are efficient and productive, pure and simple. There's no other way. It's
Wow.
not by long service. It's not by whom you just have to be effective and productive. That's all.
Mhm.
If you want to go ahead. Okay. So whilst I was there, I was very much interested in entrepreneurship. I wanted to know everything about how to go on as an entrepreneur. So there was this advert I saw on our notice board, Empretech, advertising a course, a 10-day workshop. So I asked permission, and I joined Empretech for the course. And I must say that was revolutionary for me, because the knowledge I gained there, although I couldn't start my own business, it helped me to apply them to my work,
Right.
you know, and it was very, very good for me. Um, so, as was customary in those days, the youngest person was a secretary. So I was made the secretary of the forum. All those who have been trained were put together in a group called the Empretech Business Forum. So
Mhm.
I was a secretary. So the president one day at a meeting asked me, um, how's work? And I said, oh, I'm out of work. That's like 10 years later.
Mhm.
The company had been divested, and so he said, oh, really? Then come and see me tomorrow. I think I might have work for you. So I went with my CV, and he asked me if I could sell. And I said, well, it depends on what. He said, since the company started, they've had on the drawing board wanting to set up a security systems division. I'm talking the 80s.
Mhm.
Crime was completely very low in those days.
In those days, yes.
Yeah, you know. So I said, well, I'm not an engineer. I said, don't worry, I'll teach you.
Wow.
So what it did was to teach me a circuit,
Mhm.
closed circuit, open circuit, closed circuit, and he gave me a book on electronic security systems. The rest was up to me. And
Wow.
so
Relationship building. Wow.
yes, so I had to learn everything about the electronic security systems, and then begin to sell. I remember the first client, my very first client was my former boss, the general manager, who said everybody wants his work to go on.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he trusted me enough with his life to want to buy an electronic system security system from me. You know, uh, in this one, I say that look, good name is better than anything. Over and over and over again, I've seen people will take my word for it, just because they trust me. You know,
Yes. Wow.
so I mean, whatever you do, protect your name. That's all you've got in
That
the world.
is it.
Nothing else. That's all you've got, and that will open doors for
Can
you.
you
That will
say
take
that
you
again,
places.
Uncle Sam?
I
Whatever
said,
you do.
whatever you do, protect your name. That's all you've got.
Wow.
That's all you've got. you've got nothing. Your riches won't take you anywhere. Your fame won't take you anywhere. It's your name. You got a good name. You got everything, and
Mm.
it's not just you. Your children, people around you who benefit just because they associate with you. They would
Yes.
also benefit from
Yes.
that good name.
Wow.
So in between installing the system for for him, my boss and I went to South Africa and to see suppliers, and I got a crash course in programming
Hmm.
these electronic security systems. So we came back and finished the installation for him. We had started with some on a very terrible note. The kind of wires we were running were all wrong, and we didn't know because nobody, not even the
No.
engineers in the department, knew how those systems work. But a 5 day course, I took a crash course in programming, which is 5 day course in 1.5 days, you know, and they were impressed that I made such fantastic progress. But I had no option but to absorb all the training and be good at it, So when we came back, we reconfigured everything and got it done. And I must say, we did some very nifty job around the country. I
Wow.
can't talk about any of these. I mean, it's like patient and doctor
Mhm.
relationships. I can't talk about
Yes.
any of these. But
Mhm.
there are two instances that I'm sure I can talk about.
Mhm.
One was one day I was in the office when an Israeli came up looking for my boss and said, no, he's gone out for lunch. Then he mentioned my name, and I said, yeah, here I am. Said, okay, they had a problem. They had put up a 4-star hotel, and I won't tell you whether it was the first or the second or the third, because then you know which hotel I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay.
But they couldn't open it because the electronic system was just not working. They've
Mhm.
done everything, and
Wow.
this is what the Israeli said. And the Israelis are master spies. They know everybody in any community. They know who is who. And he said he had been told that this is where he can find help in Ghana. If he
Mhm.
comes here and he can't find the help,
You can't
sorry,
find it anywhere else.
he can't find it in Ghana.
Wow.
He has to go somewhere else. So I gathered my guys, I mean sharp technicians. They sharp like a hawk. So we went, we called for the manual, we spoke to the British company that supplied the equipment. They went into the programming, and so they were able to correct some mistakes in the programming. Then they went and looked at the wiring all around. They changed the polarity of some,
Mhm.
put in fire, voila,
Now,
everything was working. Hey, this guy, he didn't know what to do with himself. You know.
wow.
Then another time, we were working on a project in Kumasi. So every 2 weeks, I had to go to Kumasi on a site visit,
Mhm.
and this was a huge project. And as part of it, I would go to Daku farms to try and sell them something, you
Mhm.
know. And so, yeah, yeah, okay, I'll tell my dad. That was Sam Daku, my contemporary. But
Mhm.
his father was,
Was
uh,
older. Yes.
yeah, much older. But I dealt with his son.
Mhm.
So one day before I got to work, my phone, no, those days yeah, yes, I had a big yam phone, bigger than a yam phone, big phone that actually should be sitting on a table. Had been ringing.
Did you have to pull when it rang? You pull the thing before you put it
That's right,
here.
yes, that's right. And they wanted me at the office immediately.
Uh,
So I went. They said, yeah, Daku Farms had sent somebody here twice. They did. So what had happened was they had brought in a ship
mhm.
full of maize. Somebody, Mr. Tay, had ordered maize for them, and they had a computerized vehicle
Mhm.
sitting on the key that they pump the maize into that machine, and the machine will weigh the exact quantity and sew it and convey it into the trucks.
Mhm.
So day and night they'll be just pumping the maize through this machine and into the sacks, and sewing
Wow.
this. Yeah, and this thing had given up. They had tried everything, nothing was working. And then Mr. Daku remembered. Aha! He called his son. Where is that your friend who you say can do everything? bring him to come and solve this problem. Damn, we sell alarm systems. We don't do these, you know. But no problem. I took my friends Makafui, John, and Abedi, and we went to Tema. We allowed straight into the this thing. So they looked at the programming, call for the manual. They reprogrammed everything, and then within an hour and a half, they got one section of the machine working.
Wow.
Now, so they called Mr. Tay and told him, "Hey, your boys have worked magic." He was on the motorway. He just flew to the end and turned around. He said he flew to the to Tema. He just asked his driver to flatten that pedal in
Wow.
his Benz, big Barracuda. He just made it in 3 or 4 minutes and just came to the airport to the port. He
Right.
had to see those guys who could work the magic. I said, well, I
Machine.
mean, no, this. So we got a lot of work from him after after that. We did a lot of nifty work, but after 7 years into 8, it was time to move on. Again, I can't really talk about this,
About most of them,
but
yes.
it was time to move on. So I saw an opening in at the American embassy, and then I applied. So when I got there at the time that I was given, I saw a guy who looked like one of these bodybuilders, very well built, nice. He was going around the facility. Okay, maybe he works here. But then I realized that we were all going in there, for the same interview. And I said, oh, damn. I mean, I don't even count. I said, I better go home. No. But after the third interview, the regional security officer said he was going to give me the job, but he told me one thing that has never left me. He said, "You Ghanaians, like, it doesn't matter too much. Everything. Oh, it doesn't matter." He said, "In this job that we do, one mistake and somebody will die. And there's no amount of 'I'm sorry' that can bring the person back." This has never left me. So for me, hey, what has to be done has to be done. There are no shortcuts. There are no if a buts. You got to do it. You got to do it. It's people's lives we are talking about here.
Right.
It's property we are talking about here. I mean, yes, you can dispense with property, but lives. Somebody dies, that is it. It's forever.
Wow.
No, not on my watch.
Wow.
So I did that for some 7 years. Then there was an opportunity to for the senior investigator. I putting my position under that portfolio.
That umbrella, yes.
Yes, for the first time, to enhance the level of the position, so that they could attract the kind of person they want to replace the person who I just left.
Wow.
And I said, okay, at least I know my work. None of the other guys who applied know what I do. I know it. I don't have police background, but at least I can learn something about police science and all that within a short time. So I went to the police headquarters, saw my friend Abbas, and told him, hey, I'm going for an interview and I need some. So in between answering his phone calls and giving orders, he lectured me in about 2 hours, the police stuff. And then he borrowed 2 books from the library in his name and gave it to me. Those 2 books you will find on every table, every police station in Ghana. You find those two books there, written by Henrietta Mensah Bonsu.
Wow.
And that is their Bible. So he gave me those books to study.
To study.
Yeah. And then, of course, there were some laws that I had to read. And I just threw myself into that thing, like I was going for an exam. And by God's grace, I went for the interview, and the boss was very impressed, and he offered me the job. At the time he was leaving, some 2.5 years later, he said, offering me that job was one of the most important decisions he had ever made in his life.
Wow.
Because the impact of what we did was so huge, that it had elevated his stature, and he was very pleased with having decided to offer me the job. There were others in the department before.
Right. Right.
I was not even in that unit. We were all in the security,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not in the investigation unit. But I had to.
He pulled you in. Look at that
Yes,
favor right
yes,
there. Wow.
that's right.
Uncle Sam,
Yes.
quick question. So time is far spent, and I just wanted to try to see if I could circle back real quick. I was very curious about your friend that you used to play football with, and how, if there was any full circle story there.
Oh, okay, right. So 4 years ago, Eugen and his brother came down to Ghana to
Wow.
visit. Yes, and so I said, hey, I really owe your mom a huge thank you. She
Mhm.
opened my eyes to see another part of life
Wow.
that
Right.
I didn't know before. Yeah, a different world that I didn't know before. Something that I liked and I aspired to. And
Mhm.
thanks to her, today I think I live reasonably well.
Mhm.
Because we, as children, we read all kinds of books, and it was a different world, and I loved it.
Wow.
So they said to me, look, she's 92, you better come soon. So I decided that 2 years ago, after they left, a year after they left, I said, okay, I was going on a mission to um, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and from there I'll come home. So I bought my ticket, budget ticket, because I was going to a private course in the US. From there I'll go to Florida to visit a friend, then go to Zurich, and then come home. Then I was sent to um, on a mission to Douala. There was some problem in Douala, and I had to go to Douala.
Mhm.
So that meant all my itinerary was
Yes.
thrown out of gear, and I lost 75% of that ticket. But I had to go. So I bought a ticket, and this time I bought a proper ticket. That cost much more,
More.
but it was really important for me. And the old lady was so overjoyed when she saw me, and that had
Wow.
been like 40 something, 45 years later. She was so overjoyed, and I made a point to tell her, look, you've made such an impact on my life, accepting me, as one of your children, and really treating me like one of them. We went everywhere, the books we read, so it inculcated in me the love of reading, which I also pass on to my two girls. You
Wow.
know, yeah,
Wow.
and I made a point to say thank you to her, and she was so grateful for that
Wow.
visit. You know,
No, I'm thinking that we have to find a way for you to come back to kind of finish this story that you're telling. We've been trying so hard to StreamYard. I just said StreamYard, right? To streamline the show, so it's only 30 minutes, and we're already 43 minutes in.
Oh no, sorry, sorry. Sorry, I didn't realize time had gone so far. I'm
Because we
sorry.
enjoyed talking, but you and me both. And I was looking and I said, oh my goodness, we have gone past 15 minutes in, and
All right.
we're trying to StreamYard it. But I don't know why I keep saying StreamYard, only because we're probably, doing this show on StreamYard. But
Yeah.
you have told me such amazing stories. I'm looking at all these comments here, and I wanted to, well, first of all, somebody, Abby Coleman said, wow, God bless her. She's actually referring to your friend's mom who helped
Mrs.
you.
Meliga. Yeah, Mrs. Meliga
Yes,
is the name.
yes. And someone, Auntie Doris, who is, also now my auntie, saying going back to say thanks to Destiny Helpers is very, very important. That is what propels us, the people that come into our lives along the way to kind of just push us a little bit. And like you said, she just opened your eyes to a different way of living. And look at you now. It's just amazing. We have so many other comments that I wanted to read, and I'm looking at them. Let's see. But we've kind of, Auntie Bole says that she is a product of, I think at one point she said she was a product of Embritech. I'm not sure if I read that right,
Yeah.
but she said yes, Embritech was the best. Auntie Bole is also one of my Destiny Helpers. I go to her just to eat. In Connecticut, USA. Emmanuel Sorogo, who happens to be our connector, And our executive producer, he says, whatever you do, protect yourself, building integrity. That's all you have. Guys, I see each and every one of you. Sedi, Pastor Kofi Chise, I see you. Auntie Bole, I see you. Hood Butchery, I'm not sure who that is, but welcome to the show. I appreciate you. Beverly Ross, as always, I see you. I see you. Auntie Doris, I see you. I see each and every one of you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your investment. Uncle Sam, I know I cut you short, and I'm very sad to have done that. But can you give us one last thing you would like to leave with our audience? I know you'd have to come back and probably tell us the journey that took you into the World Bank. That is very important to me. But one last thing you'd like to leave with our audience that they can live with at least for the rest of the week.
Well, I know that a lot of people might be superstitious, but look, God created us, and He has a plan for us. If you allow Him to guide your life and you walk humbly with Him, you will see amazing things on your journey.
Wow.
I owe it all to God, man.
Wow. That is pretty much it. You just encapsulated it so well. And Auntie Bole is saying that they love you so much, they want you to come back. So this means we have a standing open invitation to you. And we're going to have to reschedule for you to come back, because there's a powerful story I know you told me that I was really looking forward for you to share about how somebody else had needed some help and you'd helped pushed him, and it didn't need money. All you needed was to speak words, as I know you have done in my brother-in-law's life. He didn't need money from you. All he needed was your words, and he has ridden on the wings of your words so much that now he actually works for the Global Fund. And you wouldn't believe, I was getting Get Fund and the Global Fund.
Oh, wow.
I just learned the difference this morning. Ignorance is not bliss at all. Uncle Sam, I truly appreciate you. I thank you. I thank you so much. I want to apologize because I feel like you have not finished your story at all.
No, this is just about a third of it.
Whoa.
No, but next time I would be more concise.
No, we loved the details. We absolutely loved the details. That was very important. So we're gonna come back and maybe I should put you on the spot and try to hook you for probably sometime in September. You never know, right?
That's right. Yeah. Wherever I am, we can speak. I travel quite a bit, but if you set a date, I will make the time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Guys, that is what favor looks like. That's what grace looks like. And that's what destiny helping looks like. Because I don't know what we would do without God. And I think that Uncle Sam's very last words to us that somebody has encapsulated right here. And I think it's Auntie Doris. She says, God created us. He has a plan. Be humble. That is all we will ever need. That is all we will ever need. This has been To My Younger Self. Let me do a little house cleaning, or housekeeping rather. Next week, we have another one of Ghana's great storytellers, one of Ghana's, I want to call him set decorators, the person that made storytelling possible behind the scenes, Uncle Mike Amankwafo. All the way, he's worked with all kinds of television and film productions, all the way from Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, when it was whatever it was before it is what it is now. He has helped so many people I know personally, and he's going to come on and tell us stories from his childhood to his younger self. It's going to be a powerful time. So please do not miss next week. We have a wonderful lineup for you this year, and I am looking forward to all of them. Uncle Sam, you have been an amazing, amazing guest. I truly appreciate all of your help. And I cannot wait for when you're in the US so that we can really sit and have a good conversation over a real cup of coffee.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you. And
Sorry, go ahead.
This, I must say, this is I shy away from any form of media stuff.
Wow.
This is the first time I've ever appeared on any form of media.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
don't do it. I just don't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, but when Emmanuel told me about this, I said, "Why not? I'll do that for you."
Wow. 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 Thank you. That just made me
Right.
feel even more special. And on the very last words of Emmanuel Sorogo himself, who is our executive producer, he says, I love this man. He taught me that your corner does not get dim by lighting another's candle. It
That's
only
true.
gets brighter. Thank you, Uncle Sam. And on that note, guys, I love you. I know Uncle Sam loves you. This has been To My Younger Self. My name is Zoe Baraka. Today we've had Uncle Sam Fiakpui with us from the World Bank. I don't want to tell you exactly which countries he controls because, I'm thinking security. So,
No, it's okay. As you can tell, it's no secret.
so we can't wait for part two. We really can't. Thank you so much, Uncle Sam.
Welcome.
And we will talk to you very, very, very soon. Guys, it has been lovely. Goodbye.
Bye. Mhm.